Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to Chelsea Fan TV and welcome to another edition of the Opposition Preview. Guys, this video is brought to you by our friends at BetMate, the home of social betting. With BetMate, you aren't betting against the bookies, you are taking on your mates. One of the most popular games, one that I play as well in the app, is the full-time result. It is a social twist on an accumulator. Predict 10 results over the course of the weekend, guys. If you get 10 out of 10, you win the £3,000 jackpot. But don't worry, if you don't get them all right, you can still win a share of £2,000. To get £5 in free bets when you sign up, use code CFTV5. That's CFTV5 for £5 in free bets, guys, and see if you can win that £3,000 jackpot. But let's dive into the video. Chelsea heading down to the South Coast to take on Bournemouth at the Vitality Stadium this weekend. Football is back. The international break is done. And Mauricio Pochettino's boys haven't had the best start. One win from the first 4 games, and already I'd say we're in must-win territory. Bournemouth themselves, new manager, have a yet to win either. So I'm not going to say it's must-win for them, but they'd like to get a few more points on the board themselves. And I'm delighted to be joined by Tom from Back of the Net. Mate, welcome to the channel. Thank you for coming on. What have you made of your boys' start to the season? As I said, haven't won yet, but are you encouraged by what you've seen under the new gaffer?
Yeah, we are really. Like you say, it's always disappointing when you've had 4 games, you haven't won, and obviously now we've got Chelsea, and then we've got Brighton, and then we've got Arsenal, so it looks difficult. But we're definitely encouraged. I mean, when they're in a row, it looks worse. But if you actually look at our fixtures, we got points off West Ham and Brentford, and then we lost to Tottenham and Liverpool. They're difficult games. They are difficult games, and I think in the reverse fixtures last season we lost them all quite heavily. So yeah, there's been encouraging signs, and we know that it's going to take a little bit of time. We've got a new gaffer in, as you say, and it's a completely different style as well. So it is going to take a bit of time. Some of the new signings haven't been able to play yet. We've had a few little injuries that are starting to come back. So yeah, the fan base seems pretty positive. We know it's going to be, it's a marathon, not a sprint, and it's a tough fixture list. But yeah, we've caused teams like Liverpool problems, and it's just been little bits of quality here and there that we've lacked. But yeah, we're happy moving forward. We just know we've got to remain patient because, it's a tough league.
It certainly is. I mean, to be honest, you were like moments away from beating Brentford away, which would have been a fantastic result. And then you're sitting and looking at it in a slightly different light to start to the season. Obviously, had the news that Dominic Solanke signed a new contract. How important is that for Bournemouth, and how big a player is he for you guys? Obviously, an ex-Chelsea player, had the big move to Liverpool. It didn't really work out for him, but he seems to have kind of found his feet again down on the South Coast. Yeah, how good a news is that for the club?
Yeah, it's massive. It's absolutely massive. He's pivotal to everything we do. He's not your 20 odd goals a season striker. He done it in the Championship, but in the Premier League probably not. But we had moments last season where he was out injured and we just didn't function the same. So we've got Kiefer Moore's kind of our backup, and he's fine. He is what he is, but he's not Dom Solanke. And like I say, dropping into the pockets, linking everything up. He's pivotal to everything we do. Really, we love Dom, and he is starting to look a little bit more clinical. He's already got a few goals. Took his goal really nicely at Brentford, and yeah, he's one of them players that we just can't afford to be without at the moment. And you'll see that, I'm sure, at the weekend, that everything he does off the ball as well is he's a threat to every defender. And yeah, we're delighted to get that deal done, really, because there's always going to be a few murmurings over him because he's still a good age, English, and I think there is still that. I think teams be going, can he maybe step up a level? So to keep him with ourselves is massive, and I think he's hopefully bought into what we're trying to do, really, which is kind of emulate your Brentfords and Brightons and slowly try and climb that league a little bit, which is not as easy as it sounds, but we've made some business in the window and we're trying to get there. So yeah, delighted to have him with us. He's, yeah, as I say, mate, he's so key to us and already been one of our players of the month for sure.
No, definitely. I mean, obviously, you boys spent quite a lot of money compared to what you normally do. You've had the Hollywood takeover and all that, bit of a cash injection. Obviously, I know they've not all been able to play due to injuries and stuff. But out of the new signings that have played, who's kind of caught your eye the most?
It's probably the left back Milos Kerkez has been really good. He's 19, Hungarian international, and he's just everywhere. He's so energetic. He's been really good, and we were surprised we managed to get hold of him. He was touted by a lot of big clubs. So yeah, just not always their fullback, but him and Max Aarons, who we got from Norwich, have both been really impressive in them fullback areas. And the way that we're trying to play means he wants a lot from his fullbacks, as everyone does in the modern game now. So they've been really, really good. As you say, we haven't been able to get all of them in yet. Sinistera, hopefully soon. We're excited by him. Alex Scott's out injured for a little while, so we're going to have to wait to see him. Could be a first appearance of Tyler Adams as well. That we got another one.
Of course. Yeah, we kind of a little bit disrespectfully pulled the plug on that move from him. So if he plays, I'm sure he'll have a point to prove.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, he's hopefully going to be ready for at least the bench. But he was one that we were happy. You obviously wanted to go elsewhere with, say, Saicedo and Lavia, so we managed to get him. But there's also players that we bought in the January that kind of only just seeing now. So Zabani at the back, who played really well against England for Ukraine. Actually, he's been really, really good at centre half for us. And as I say, against England, he kept Kane quiet, which is no mean feat. So yeah, we got a few in there, but probably similar to yourselves. We're still waiting for it to click a little bit. We're still trying to work things out, and who's going to play where, etc. But yeah, we've got a few bodies in that we're happy with, and a few of the kind of regulars like Solanke stepping up to the plate. So yeah, it's going to take a bit of time, but early signs are good, mate.
And in terms, obviously, you touched on the style of football is totally different. Obviously, that's trying to be implemented now is totally different to what it was like under Gary O'Neill. How different is it, and what is the new gaffer looking to try and implement?
So it's definitely more front foot. From a fan's point of view, it's much more entertaining to watch. There'll be certain games where we'll get picked off because of it, for sure. There was the Liverpool game as a prime example. We went to Anfield last season, obviously lost 9-0. And went there this season. We scored after a couple of minutes, and we were causing so many problems. But it ended up we got caught in the break a few times, and we conceded a few. So that's the way we're going to try and play now. I think Gary O'Neill, obviously to his credit, it kept us in the division, but it was very much low block, keep yourselves in the game, try and nick something, and try and win 1-0 if you can. Whereas this is a little bit more go toe to toe and try and hurt teams, try and impose yourselves on the opposition. That high line, we've gone from a low block to now the defenders want to be on the halfway line. So it's an interesting one because I do think going into this game, we need to be a little bit more intelligent because I think you've seen the games that Chelsea have lost is against teams that will sit off a little bit, West Ham and Forest, and let you guys have the ball, frustrate, and then nick you on the counter. So I think we'll look to maybe adapt it slightly because I think it's just been shown in this early period that that's the best way to get something against Chelsea. So it will be interesting to see if we mix it up a little bit because we do have a lot of pace on the break if we need it. We are quick in them front areas. And yeah, against Brentford, as you say, we were moments away, but we got caught from pace. So we got caught a few times and Sterling and players like that will hurt us if we're not careful. But it's more enjoyable. It's definitely going toe-to-toe with the opposition a little bit more. Whereas I felt last season, which I get why he did it, Gary Neal thought the teams are a little bit better than us at the moment. We need to keep ourselves in the game. And ultimately, it did keep us in the division. But if we want to go to that next level, we do need to start imposing ourselves a little bit more. And fortunately, it feels like we're going to start doing that.
And obviously, you touched on it there. You're playing at a bit more of a higher line. Is that a concern for the weekend potentially, knowing the pace that we have in behind? You know, obviously, if Mudryk plays, he's pretty quick. So are the likes of Nicholas Jackson, Madueke. If he plays a good game down at the Vitality Stadium last season, I mean, is that a concern for you if you go with this high line? That if you get it wrong, we have got a lot of pace that we can get in behind with.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that is a concern. I think the opposition we've played so far, it's kind of worked okay. But as I briefly mentioned, that Brentford game, they hit the post a few times, had a lot of chances. And they've got that quick, you know, and Buemo and Vissa, they're quite quick. Probably not as talented as the Chelsea players, but they have got that pace. And we did get caught a few times. So I do wonder if we have to adapt it slightly. But equally, I think, you know, we've got to also look at ourselves and go, you know, your fullbacks / wing backs will bomb on, and we've got to try and look at how we can hurt you as well, rather than just stopping you. But yeah, I think we've also got to look at that midfield. I think the Tottenham game in particular, we allowed Maddison to control that game in the pockets. He's a top player, but I think equally someone like Enzo Fernandez, if you give him too much on the ball, if you try and press him too high, he's clever enough, skip past the tackle and then, you know, dictate the game. So we've got to be careful of that. And listen, we know going into it, you've got high caliber of players. We know that. But also, you've got to look at the way teams have got results against you this season. And I think we will dive into that a little bit and adapt slightly and maybe not go so high so early and try and keep ourselves in the game and frustrate you. Because I think if you can get the first goal against Chelsea, then you can frustrate you a little bit. So that'll be the plan, I'm sure.
I think that's probably your best chance of getting a positive result is scoring first. Because as we've seen, not only this season against Forest last weekend, but for large parts of last season,
Yeah.
particularly at Stamford Bridge, we really struggle to break teams down that kind of frustrate us, sit deep, get men behind the ball. I think away from home we'll probably do better this season just because teams will come out and play a little bit more. That will allow us to sort of play our football a bit more. So I do think we'll probably pick up more points on the road than we potentially will at home. Just from a Chelsea perspective, briefly, mate, who should we be looking out for? Obviously, Solanke, but anyone else that could be key and could cause us a few issues?
Yeah, I mean, Solanke's obviously the focal point, and then we've kind of briefly mentioned Sinistera there, who could get involved. We haven't seen him yet, but I think there's a few players that maybe because we're Bournemouth, which I appreciate, go under the radar slightly. And Antoine Semenyo started the season really, really well. Got him from Bristol City, and then he got an injury last season. But he's kind of started the season unexpectedly. He scored at Anfield. He's very quick. He's also played up top, so playing in wide, he kind of likes to get closer to Dom, which helps. And also Philip Billing, he hasn't done it yet, but he was our top goal scorer last season. I think people forget that he actually scored more than Solanke, and he will arrive into the box late. He's good stature, and he'll cause problems as well. But yeah, we've got decent players all over the pitch, to be honest with you, and it's a bit more about us as a collective rather than having a standout. But yeah, I think if you maybe get it wrong, then people like Phil Billing can find a bit of room and arrive late into the box, etc. But yeah, I think it will be someone like Semenyo. Maybe if a Chilwell, if we say he starts, maybe bombs on a little bit too much, could get caught because Semenyo can cause problems with his pace. But yeah, equally, obviously Chilwell can cause us a lot of problems as well. So yeah, it'd be interesting. But I think Billing could pop up and get a goal maybe.
Yeah, I've been impressed with him. Whenever I've seen him play, he,
Mm.
he looks a decent player. Eye for goal, bit of a handful. He's
Yeah.
definitely one got to be wary of. Just before we do the score predictions, mate, what are the expectations for Bournemouth this season? Because obviously, as you said, you just stayed up last season under Gary O'Neill. Fantastic job to stay in the division. You've now had the new investment from the Americans. A lot of money's been spent. Some big players have come in. The expectations probably rightfully have increased. But what would represent a good season for Bournemouth this year?
Yeah, it's a weird one. I think that obviously they've increased by the signings and the gaffer, and I do think we'll be okay, and hopefully more okay than we were last season. But the minimum expectation while we're trying to grow, looking into kind of new stadium, things off the pitch that hopefully can develop. You've got to say minimum is 17th. You've just got to make sure you stay in the division as Bournemouth for sure. We're aware of that. But as long as we get that, and then we see the progression in terms of a philosophy of playing, and we see little bits added in, and we know we're on the right trajectory, then I think we'll be happy. But I think, once we get these horrible fixtures out of the way, I think we can surprise a few. And, listen, we could start knocking on the door for kind of 13th, 12th. I think will be brilliant. And then, like you say, then you go kick on to next season and go, right, can we start looking at top
Yeah.
half potentially? I think it's that gradual climb that your likes of Brentford and Brighton have managed to do is what we're probably trying to look at, knowing that it's not just going to happen overnight. We know it's going to take a bit of time, but I think we'll surprise people that kind of come them latter months of the season. I'm hoping that we won't be in too much of a scrap. I think for the first time, I think there's quite clearly three teams that are going to be worse than us. So yeah, we're quietly confident at the moment, but we always knew it was going to be a tough start of the season.
Yeah, no, I think you've got more than enough to stay up. But yeah, it is certainly going to be interesting. Just briefly, mate, what's it? How are the domestic cups treated at Bournemouth? Is it just kind of anything you do is a bonus, or is there particular importance placed on them?
Yeah, it has been really that kind of anything's a bonus because I guess when you are Bournemouth as well and you're always kind of scrapping to stay in the division, and then prior to that, we're trying to get up from the Championship, it's always going to take a back seat and we've never really done much. But the new gaffer, actually, when he was at Rayo Vallecano and Mirandes before that, he got into competitions in cup competitions in Spain. He's kind of punched with the elite. He beat Barcelona and Real Madrid last season, so he obviously takes them seriously. And we've seen obviously there's only been one round, and for us against Swansea it was, and you saw it that we were behind at half time, and he brought Solanke on, and he went, no, we want to get through in this cup. And then we've got Stoke in the next round at home, so not a given, but you'd like to think you can win that. And there's a lot of all Premier League ties, and in the League Cup you're starting to look at it going, the draw falls all right for you. You never know. Previously we've been knocked out to you guys in quarterfinals, I think, of the League
Yeah.
Cup. I remember Hazard scoring late, which just killed us a little bit. But I think the squad's as deep as it's ever been. Just when we were mentioning there about some of the new signings, so I think we can do a bit of both. We can rotate, but we've got to a point now where you take out Semenyo, say, and you bring in David Brooks or Sinisterra, Tavernier, and you're starting to go, there's not a lot of difference in quality. So, yeah, I think we can do a bit of both. So, yeah, I think we'll probably look at it. We'll see when it comes January in the FA Cup and where we're at. But last few seasons, we've certainly given it a back seat. But League Cup, wouldn't be surprised if we try and have a little bit of a go at it.
As you say, mate, it's one of them where you can, like, the draw falls right for you. It's not many games until you start getting to like quarters, semi-finals, and then anything can happen. But yeah, mate, to round out score predictions, what are you saying? You thinking first one of the season could be coming?
You never know. You never know. But yeah, always kind of got to take it with a pinch of salt. It's a weird one because you look at some of the results and you go, this could be a chance of getting something. And then you quickly fall into, but look at the quality Chelsea have got. It's going to click at some point. I think, I'm a Bournemouth fan. I'm not going to predict us to lose a home game. So I'm hoping we can nick a point. Maybe I'll go for a 2-2. I've said that Sterling always scores against us. Jackson nearly signing for us makes you think he'll probably get a goal. But Dom's just signed a new contract. So I'll go 2-2, Solanke brace for us, and Jackson and Sterling for you. But yeah, I think I would, as much as we can, it is winnable. I think we've got to be aware of Chelsea's quality. So I would take a point for sure. But I think it will be a really tight game. And as you kind of mentioned, mate, I think if we can get the first goal, then I think we've got a hell of a chance. I remember going to your place last season under Potter when you weren't doing much.
Oh, crap, yeah.
Yeah, and you didn't even play very well against us, but you got that first goal when there was nothing in the game, and then it just kind of petered out for us. And I think if we had nicked something early, it could have been a different game. So I think that could be crucial. I think if we can start fast, nick a goal, then we're well in it. But I would take a draw.
Yeah, no, fair. I'm going to stick with the boys. We have to win this game. So I'm going to go for a 2-1, but I think it's going to be a very tight game, not an awful lot in it, and we're going to have to pull something out of the bag. But I'm going to go for a 2-1 win. Mate, thanks so much for your time. If people want to check out more of what you guys do, where should they be going?
It's Back of the Net is the name. It's the AFCB podcast on Twitter. I'm Tom Jordan 21 on Twitter. But yeah, just the Bournemouth fan channel is on YouTube. We do loads of stuff. So and when we go to places like when we go to Chelsea, we always do an away day show and all that stuff. So yeah, we obviously focus on Bournemouth, but we do lots around the Premier League. So yeah, appreciate it if you check it out. And cheers for having me on, Charlie. Good fun, mate.
No problem at all. Guys, that'll be linked in the description and tagged in the title. So just click it there, go and support the guys. Yeah, mate, thanks for your time. Guys, catch you again in another video shortly. Take care and up the Chelsea.